a parenting and family podcast for the freaks, geeks, nerds, and weirdos, the outcasts who went on and had their own. We're used to being the exception to the rule, so come along with us as we try to also live exceptionally. We're here to help make you the best version of your freaky family. Welcome, everyone, to episode number 122 of Peace Freqs. I am Nikki P, here as always with my lovely wife and co-host Lizzie. How are we doing today, babe?
Not bad, not too bad at all.
It is far earlier in the morning than I want to be recording, but we missed Sunday and we're doing this on Monday.
Yep.
So we actually just had a funny little moment right before we were recording. That funny moment is now being further funnied by the fact that she walked down here to start poking me to use the tablet.
Nice.
And needed a thumbprint. But yeah, we started our day out with, we're about ready to record the podcast to get it done. And we got a little crying one because the garden experienced some difficulties yesterday due to the weather.
Had a nice windstorm and blew pretty much all the structures in the garden over. So
Shit happens, I guess. It's not like any of it was really cemented in, though.
No, nothing was terribly well anchored, and it's kind of the off season for the garden. We still had turnips and carrots, and I imagine they're probably still alive under there. Well, I'll bury them at some point, but
I mean, it should kind of just be like lean one direction, shouldn't it?
It fell over, but it is what it is.
Yeah. So, anyways, we're kind of going to be talking about things in that vein anyways this week. So, it seemed like a fun little thing. And apparently, Irma was just so affected by the garden being a little roughed up.
Yeah, well, we haven't done a ton of building things. It's weird to see something you built kind of not there anymore, I guess.
It is not at all, because I built tree forts my entire life as a child, and every one of them fell down because we were not master builders, or the tree died, or someone's dad got pissed.
Yeah, no, but this is probably her first one.
And this wasn't even much of a structure. It was just a couple of things. It was basically a tent.
Basically, made out of netting.
Not even like strong netting.
Nope.
So, well, let's start this episode out the way we start out all these Monday episodes. What the hell have you been reading, Liz?
I read The 5 Red Herrings by Dorothy L. Sayers, the latest to me in the Lord Peter Wimsey novel series. I'm sure it came out in the 1930s or something.
So why do you make her middle initial and her last name one word?
I don't know. I just hear people say it, and then
You go L. Sayers.
Say it very quickly, yes.
It's Dorothy L. Sayers.
Yes, I'm sure there's supposed to be a breath in there.
Like, if I didn't put this in the show notes, no one would have any clue what you're talking about, because they would hear
Dorothy L. Sayers, and
because when I had to look it up initially, I was looking. You
thought it was L. Sayers, yeah.
Like, who the fuck is L. Sayers? It's an interesting name, but
Dorothy L. Sayers. Sorry.
And that's all the reading that you've done in these weeks that we've been, not podcasting good.
Well, to be frank, I've been focused on trying to put into practice some of the organizational things I've been building habit-wise. So I've had a lot more focus on the podcasts about organization and my actual, thought and habits and routines and whatnot.
I've actually been a little bit slower in my reading lately too, because it's been kind of doing things at work that require I can hear better around me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And some of the stuff I've been getting into reading has been a little bit more heady, so to speak.
Oh, yeah, like what?
We won't talk about what I'm currently reading, because that'll be for the next episode, but...
Oh, okay.
But in the past couple of weeks while we were hiatusing or trying to get through, but I've been trying to force myself to edit some of the more difficult to edit episodes. In particular, the Adam Power interview that was a pain in the butt to edit for various reasons. I'm glad it came out well. I liked the way it came out. I'm happy that he did the episode, but it was just worked out. Ended up being a bitch of an edit.
Yeah.
So in the past couple of weeks, I have put down The Fear Institute by Jonathan L. Howard, which is actually another one of those Johannes Cabal's books.
Okay.
I put down The Politically Incorrect Guide to the Great Depression and the New Deal by Robert Murphy, which was fairly good. I don't know that I learned anything in that book, but it kind of reinforced things I already knew, mostly because I listened to Bob otherwise.
Okay.
How the Church Built Western Civilization by Thomas Woods.
I'm excited that you read that one, because I was excited to read that one and excited to talk to you about it. And you were like, yeah, I'm Catholic. I know all this, blah, blah.
Pretty much. And I mean, all it is one just long string of facts of so-and-so did this. And I mean, there are a lot of notches, I guess, on the Catholic Church is about. But to me, to think of the Catholic Church as doing that as opposed to all the individuals who are part of the Catholic Church is kind of silly.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I think the structure has helped a lot of people accomplish a lot of things throughout time. So
yeah,
I also read The Brothers Cabal, which was probably one of the more fun ones I've read, because it's actually the brother that was in the first book gets brought back again in this book, and like they are explicit that he's a vampire this time. Like they just kind of talk to him as being generally undead in the first book.
Okay.
And like he's brought back to lead an army or something, and then he kind of doesn't want to do it.
Nice.
And most of the book is him telling Johannes a story.
Huh, okay.
And then the other half is I'm actually going to take on. It's a pretty cool. You'd probably enjoy certain elements of like the storytelling, because like the main villain in this book is the aristocrat that was trying to hit on Johannes and like the airship in an earlier book.
Okay.
Yeah, who was also like the daughter of this fucking crazy dude.
Weird.
But she ended up going on and becoming like a crazy necromancer lady herself.
Oh, okay.
She's supposed to be dead, but apparently it's not.
Well, I thought that was kind of the point of necromancy.
Yeah.
Not that I'm any kind of expert.
The Johannes is a different kind of necromancer, Liz. That's the whole point in the book.
Oh, well, all right then.
Yeah, oh no, it was not as much reading as I'd been doing. Been kind of a wild couple months.
It has.
But, we're still trying to get in what we can.
Yep.
So before we get into the meat of the episode today, let's just say to everyone, if you have a parenting story you'd like to share and would like to get on an episode, or if you have a product or service you think other parents and families might be interested in helping make life a little easier for them, get a hold of us on social media at peacefreqs@nickfacone.com. Or if you have a topic or something that you're interested in, let us know. We'll talk about it. So after the song, we'll get into today's topic.
Through the mud, it turns to shit.
So today we're going to be talking about houses.
Yep.
Because kind of one of the things that's come up recently is that I feel as though we're kind of floundering a little bit.
Oh.
In the sense that I don't have a clear vision of what's next.
Okay.
Like right now, we're doing priority number one, handle all the debt and get ourselves in a place where we can
got more options.
Have as few chains around my neck as possible.
Makes sense.
But that's once that's done, I'm not sure what happens after that, or I haven't been.
Yeah.
And so in the past couple of weeks, I've really been trying to solidify a picture for what that would look like. I know we talked to Jacob about Childeville, and that kind of thing. But, until that is a real thing, we kind of have to look out for our best interests and what we need and want moving forward.
Right.
And one of the biggest parts of that, I guess, is thinking about where we're going to live, what kind of house or home would we be looking for? What are the things that we're into there?
Right.
And apparently Liz has had long lists of things.
Well,
she wants and requires in this that I have not put a whole lot of thought into it. And I guess in certain ways my thoughts have changed over the years on it.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk a little bit about that perfect home or homestead, like what we personally would be looking for in that.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
So why don't you start us off, since you're the one with all the lists?
Well, the thing about the list is not that I was making a serious list. I just would think about it, and then I'd want to, exercise that idea somehow. So I'd just make myself a list instead of bringing it up again when we were obviously not in a position to even start thinking about it. So I actually found, as I'm getting my papers organized, I found an older list, which I thought was kind of amusing because the first thing on the list is Nonracist Neighbors, which I thought was odd for me to feel the need to emphasize.
Okay. Well, you've given me the impression that in the past, hey, you has been an issue.
I mean, a time or two I've had issues with people and places. Never the place I lived, but
You talk about Mentor, Ohio.
Yeah.
It was a shitty place.
well, yeah, people were crappy in the neighborhood that I lived in. Not necessarily racist, just I don't know, suburban meddling, I guess. So yeah, I'd like to avoid that. I think we're agreed that we'd rather have some place with a little more space between us and the neighbors in general. So
In general, yes.
yeah, although you do have to know your neighbors. You were saying something about that.
Yes. I mean, in general, like where I grew up, we weren't on top of our neighbors. Like had neighbors, but we weren't on top of them, and we did know them all. So if something came down or happened, we knew the people in our. Now we didn't necessarily hang out with the people in our community. Like my one neighbor was an old lady, or an old woman and an old husband at one point. He did eventually pass out. You also have, due to people being in different stages of their lives, I guess the point is you don't always
Sure.
have a lot in common to hang out with. But, being neighborly is always more useful than not.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, that is definitely part of something that would be on my list for sure.
Okay.
Not racist neighbors. I mean, I don't feel like that's too difficult to get.
No, I don't think it should be.
Good neighbors, maybe a little more
Yeah.
complicated.
Under $200,000 is apparently what I put on that list.
I see that a dollar amount's not even remotely anything that like
No.
until we have like a bunch of money saved up. What the hell does that nonsense mean?
Yeah. Well, I think I was just looking at the different calculators and seeing what the monthly payment would be on different mortgages, but all that's based on your credit and whatever. So who the heck knows? A dishwasher, washer and dryer. Those are actually still on my new list too.
Okay.
I want to have the machines to turn on and make them do things for me. A whole house water filter was on this older list that isn't on my new list, but it'd be nice. It's not that high of a priority for me anymore.
What was that?
A whole house water filter?
Out of curiosity, why?
I don't know. I think at the time I was very concerned about.
What kind of water are you filtering?
I mean, if it's your whole house, then all of the water would be filtered.
But I mean, what kind of water are you planning on having?
Oh, well, yeah, and I might not have been thinking about city water versus well water. I think now we've both agreed that we'd rather have a well and our own water sources.
I've grown up with well water, so
Yeah,
city water's a little weird.
agreed.
Yeah, frankly, I'd like to live in a place where that's kind of a given.
Yeah, just far enough out that, yeah, it's going to be well water. Air conditioning was on my list because you guys were both miserable, especially when Irma was younger, like a baby, a toddler. She'd be miserable all summer, every summer. And I just wanted to know that I could do something about it. So an air conditioner was on my list.
Okay, now I'm probably more about, is there a way that we can handle air conditioning with in a more natural way? Just guys, one of the things that I thought is I've always wanted the subterranean home.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we looked at the Earthship documentaries and whatnot for a long time. And now we're getting closer to a point where it could become more of a reality, you've kind of looked into the feasibility of that and found some different things.
Number one, there's some questions about the R value of the insulation given living in the north.
Right.
Where it freezes.
Yeah.
Essentially, I don't know how keen I am to moving out of that
Right.
to someplace where it doesn't. That doesn't have.
Right.
There are a few questions to the various ways that they do it. We've talked about earthships, but the big thing with earthships is they take a long time.
Right.
I've heard horror stories about people starting them and never finishing them.
And we really don't want to make our lives about building a house. We want to make our lives about living in the house. So,
yes. Now, I've always kind of said that I'd have to have a big house to do a lot of things, but
yeah.
You've also said I my trade-off on that would be I'm cool with like multiple structures.
Right. So you could build an outbuilding for whatever need you need an outbuilding for.
Yes. And like I said, with music kind of being not what it has been in my life due to, governmental restrictions on what I can do with it, it seems less necessary to have like a need for different studios for different stuff, like having a big rehearsal room and things like that seem kind of unnecessary. A little podcast studio seems like it'll work for anything I need to do at this point.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I feel like I'm leaning more towards something like a tiny house to start. on a sizable piece of land somewhere. Finding the land, like basically, if I were to go out right now, what I would look for would be power, water, and sewer, and property. That would be it. As long as I have those things kind of there,
Yeah.
the rest we can kind of get by.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I like the idea of having at least a tiny house on the land because that sort of takes care of the government coming in and having do an inspection on everything and make sure you have a livable structure.
The other thing is, like, really, how much do I want to have to deal with the government to build on my property? I don't want to have a lot of red tape in that department.
Right. So if there's a house, okay, there's a house. And you guys don't really need to hang out and figure out what else is going on here.
Well, I mean, we'd have to kind of address, like, about a place with building codes that kind of...
I mean, there are a few places with no building codes, but not tons.
I'm not necessarily against the codes. Just I don't want to have to deal with a whole lot of red tape and anything.
Yeah.
Anything I would choose to do, I would probably choose to do professionally.
Right.
Just because I feel like my parents would be a little more likely to visit than if we didn't quite live in a shanty.
This is true. You don't really want to be, unwelcoming to visitors.
But once again, one of the other things that we've had to consider is this. I mean, how many people are you actually going to see, in the world moving forward? Because I feel like they've kind of, I mean, my parents' state's constantly locking them down and telling them they can't go to other states and see other people because, then they have to quarantine for 2 weeks and they can't afford that with their jobs. And,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't have any faith that I'm going to see either of any of my grandparents before they pass away at this point.
Which is pretty disappointing.
It is, but
So here's an interesting random thing that was on my list. No evil vibes. I apparently was concerned about, I don't know, people building pyres or something on the land.
I think this is probably more of a concern because you're married to me. And to me, that's a selling point.
I know. Oh, a bunch of people have seen ghosts or something at this property?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
well, sign me up. House. Yeah. No, thank you. Because I'm one of those people, like, when you hear the voice in the house that says, get out, I'm like, all right, deuces. I'm good. I'll be over here.
And I quizzically pull on my beard going,
Mm-hmm.
What? Whoa! The game is afoot, sir.
Yeah, no. I don't want to be the person in the video that they're like, "Bitch, get out the house!" Like, no.
Oh no, I will absolutely be that person. I have a long history of hallucinating shit. We'll just say, for lack of being too crazy.
Yeah,
it's like I see some shit, so it is what it is, bruh.
Anyway, a large garden space on a more reasonable note, or at least a large space with decent sun exposure where we could have a garden.
Yes.
Preferably not all under trees.
Ideally, I do want some forest space.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Because I want to have a wood stove. You need, hopefully, access to wood.
I want to have people able to come over and shoot stuff on my property.
Yeah, I'd be down with that, too. I don't know that I'd become a person that shoots stuff, but, I mean, maybe eventually.
Yeah, I have no intention of that. I didn't say I wanted to shoot stuff on my property.
Yeah.
I wanted other people to be able to.
Yeah.
And, maybe, like, I'll take my cut of the meat.
Yeah, there you go. That works.
But, yeah, I have kind of in my mind, almost like a ratio.
Mm-hmm.
To at least 1/3 of the space would be usable for gardening, 1/3 of it usable for forestry, ideally.
Okay, that makes sense. I want a pond.
I feel like that's a given.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Which means you got to find a place you're allowed to have a pond. I guess for me, the pond, yes, but I'm also kind of more I'm really, really interested in aquaponics.
Well, I am too, but they're different things. Like you can have a stocked pond and do some of the aquaponics type stuff.
You just want to go fishing. What is it with black people and fishing, Liz?
Did I say anything about fishing? The word fishing did not escape. I'm looking for it in the air.
Well, then what the fuck do you even have a stocked pond for? Because I sure as fuck don't go fishing.
Well, no, I'm just saying aquaponics is you have fish in a thing, and I'm just saying you could put fish in your pond. That's all I was getting at.
Yeah, or I could put fish in the gardening system that I'm choosing to use.
Yes, you can.
And then I don't have to be a fisherman. I just pick the fucking thing out with a net.
True.
Because I'm not going to start fishing.
Well, I guess when I think of pond,
I am not Jack Spirko, and I do not love fishing. That's just boring as fuck.
Okay, that's fair. But no, I was thinking about, I think of dug ponds, and you think of big honking ponds. because you're from the country and I am not. So maybe that's part of it.
I have no idea. I've seen many types of ponds in my day.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
All the way down to the blue water beach types.
Yeah, I've mostly just seen like with the plastic liner and like the koi swimming in it. So
That's not a pond.
oh, okay, fair enough.
In fact, that's almost aquaponics at that point.
I'm just saying there might be some overlap. Fruit trees was something that I was interested in. I know you were saying it's not a big selling point for you because you're like you can plant fruit trees. But to me, going to a place with established trees feels like buying time to me.
It does feel that way. And I'm probably more in line with that these days than not.
Okay, fair enough.
What else you got?
A fenced-in area, which I'm not sure if I was thinking about that for a dog or the kid or just to be able to have a fenced-in area, but that was on my list.
I mean, that's a retarded thing because we can always build a fence, Liz.
Well, yeah, you can, but, that's more money.
But fences sound a lot like yard, and I'm not about yard.
I'm not about yard either. Actually, I am pretty excited about not having anything to mow, or at least not having to mow or something. Yeah. And then one of the things on my old list was away from like the, what do you call them, microwaves from the internet towers, which I am not sure would be on my new list just because I know you want to be able to be connected to stuff.
Yeah, I mean, honey, internet connection is a non-negotiable thing.
Yeah.
Ideally, we're going to have to make money doing something. I'd like that to be kind of an online business.
Yeah. So however you do that without having the microwaves fry your brains, I guess we'll just do that.
Honey, I feel like the microwaves have done the cooking they're going to do at this point.
Yeah, probably.
It's just crispy up there now.
Yeah, right on. And then I said 5 to 10 acres. I think that was the last thing.
You're so much more specific about things.
Well, because
I don't even have a frame of reference for what 5 to 10 acres looks like.
I'm into the details. I'm not entirely sure I do either. An acre is a lot.
Our boy Timmy Finn, he's like 110 acres for $100,000.
Where? How?
I'm assuming up in Massachusetts.
That sounds bonkers. I mean, God bless you if you have a use for that, but
Well, yeah, the town that he wants to start.
Oh, right.
Because that's all libertarians want to do is start towns.
Start towns.
Which would be nice if I had land that I could kind of start partitioning it off and selling it to people. But, it'll be what it'll be, I suppose.
Yeah, it usually is.
What else you got? Anything else fun on your list? Or?
That was really it on my list. Like, I have no concerns about the actual size of the house, the make of the house, ranch, split level, none of that. Did not make any of my lists.
I mean, I guess to a degree there's going to be kind of like a ranch will be necessary.
You think?
Yeah. I don't know that I really want a tall house ever.
Why is that?
Number one, they're more conspicuous.
Okay, that's fair.
Honey, I want to have a fully subterranean home. Like for me, everything would be in the ground.
I mean, Hobbit hole. I signed up. I'll sign up for the Hobbit hole. So
I know, and we will have some form of Hobbit hole out on our property at some point.
Right.
If that's where we live, I don't know. And like eventually the original tiny home will become the guest house or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's got to be some way to do subterranean because people do it.
Well, the issue wasn't that it can't be done. There were a lot of problems that kind of came along with it.
Yeah.
That unnecessary complications, I guess.
Gotcha. Okay. Well.
And, ideally I'd like one of those military bunkers. But
just, yeah. Then you're already on all the maps though, right?
You mean I'm already on all the lists? Yes.
Well, that's probably true too.
So, as far as geographic region, I think it probably has more to do with like the legal framework of where we're going to end up.
Yeah.
I frankly want people having as little control over me as possible. And I don't even know, I couldn't even begin to know how all things are going to shake out after this whole COVID fiasco.
Yeah. It's all very, hard to tell. There are a few districts that are, less compliant. They're looking very appealing right now, but
question is, will they stay compliant?
Right.
I think South Dakota going to become like the boom of the century. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I guess let's kind of start wrapping things up here. So check this song and get into the ending. right. So, couple things, babe. Gardening.
Yeah.
What's been going on there?
I mean, as we spoke about in our opening, we had a windstorm that blew over our structures in our garden. Mostly kind of at a lower key pace out there. Turnips and carrots and spinach and kale. And most of those things are still alive, to my knowledge. So we're just gonna have to do some cleanup after the windstorm and see what's what.
Pretty much. I mean, frankly, I just imagine this is going to be like you pull everything to one side and then kind of stake it back in, because that all there was to begin with.
I mean, I'm probably just gonna see what the weather's gonna be like. There's no sense in putting it back up if it's gonna blow right back down. So
I don't know. I'm not a big weather person.
Yeah.
But other than that, there really hasn't been much. It's kind of waiting out. You've been looking at seeds a lot.
Yeah, looking at seeds.
Not pulling the trigger on any of that, which kind of scares me, in that you're waiting until things get more complicated.
I know. It's not a good habit. I need to just get some stuff.
Really, I wanted you to have them in October, and you haven't, so.
I know. But yeah, that's still in the works.
Well, I don't want you to know. I want you to take care of it.
To get them, right. Yeah, okay.
So, how about on the homeschool front?
The homeschool front, things are going well. We're getting more organization and more clarity about, where we're going and kind of what we need to do to get to where we want to be. We're, 16 weeks in now? So it's been a journey. It's been good, though. We've explored all sorts of things. I think we've gotten into Renaissance artists recently and still doing all the maths, and we are exploring phonics, even though our kid is a reader, just because I want her to have the ability to discover new words and work them out and that sort of thing. So
nice.
Yeah, been doing a lot of reading. I'm pretty excited. It's hard to believe that she just started this year, because it's just kind of what she does now.
Nice. Still loving on them joke books.
Yeah, she is. Just nonstop.
I don't know if it counts as homeschooling, but me and Irma played some songs the other night.
Yeah, I heard that. I think that's awesome. I'm super excited about it. I think we could definitely count that as some sort of music credit, can't we?
Hopefully. Well, it started off, I was kind of, Send Me On My Way, I was thinking of it, from the movie Matilda. And I was showing Irma the riff.
Oh, neat.
And then from there, I was like, oh, well, my guitar's in my hand, so why don't we just kind of keep moving along with this?
Nice.
Yeah.
You guys are adorable when you do your daddy-daughter thing. I love it.
I guess. Anyways, folks, peacefreaks.com for show notes and links to connect with us on the social networks that you like. If you like the show, please hit that subscribe button on the podcatcher of your choice, wherever you're listening to it. I don't care if it's YouTube, whatever. If you want to help spread the word, liking and sharing on your preferred social network is huge, because algorithms don't like anybody anymore. I don't even know if that's like a libertarian thing. They just don't like people. They don't want to help nobody. If you want to do us one better, please go rate and review us on iTunes, because that's, I think, the only one that really matters. I don't know, maybe Spotify matters now too.
Maybe.
But this actually helps us get in front of more people, so we can build the audience and have a bigger community of which to source content and ideas from. More weird people with weird parenting journeys, because that's what we're all about here.
Yep.
Last, if you want to donate to us, head over to upgradetheshow.com, because you can help offset the cost of running things, which is putting some money towards the Libsyn and all the other little expenditures that kind of go into this. Doesn't even begin to touch the time stuff. But anything we do get kind of over what the actual costs of the show are. Eventually, I'd like to put into advertising to once again help build the community and find more weird parents, weird lives.
Yeah.
If you're normie or not, we do take both fiat and crypto. For normies, fiat is the money that you usually use.
Clarify.
It's the stuff that'll run through Visa and MasterCard. Anyone who does do any of the aforementioned things and wants some recognition for their help in helping us continue to do this thing that we really enjoy doing, send a photo of what you've done to peacefreaks@nickpicone.com, and we'll give you a shout out. So otherwise, have a good day, everybody.
Thanks for joining us.
Peace. This podcast is a proud creation of the Mad Audio Lab. For more information, check out madaudiolab.com. Peace Freqs is part of the Liberty Hippie Podcast Network. If you like what we do, be sure to check out Homesteads and Homeschools, Free Markets Green Earth, Cannabis Heals Me, and This Week in Liberpods. We're living proof that libertarian doesn't mean washed up Republican.